Do you feel it? The silent chaos raging behind your eyes. That storm of 1,000 open tabs in your mind. Even when the screen is dark, you're busy, always busy. But you end the day with the bitter taste of stagnation. You mistake motion for progress, a flurry of reactions for real action. It's the gnawing feeling that you're a ghost in your own life, a passenger in a body hurtling through time, controlled by a mind you no longer command. This isn't fatigue, warrior. This is a siege. Your own mind has become the enemy's territory, a fortress occupied by impulse and distraction, and you are living in exile, just outside the walls of your own potential. This is the tyranny of an undisciplined mind, and it is silently killing the person you were meant to become. Look around. The battlefield is everywhere. It's the glowing screen in your pocket, engineered by a trillion-dollar industry to hijack your focus. Every notification is a sniper's bullet aimed at your attention. Every endless scroll is a trench you dig for yourself, trapping you in a cycle of cheap dopamine and hollow engagement. The world screams for your reaction, and you give it freely, trading your limited hours for meaningless data. The algorithm is your drill sergeant, barking orders to look here, click this, want that. And you obey. You obey because the commander in your head, your own will, has gone silent. It has been drowned out by the noise, weakened by 1,000 tiny surrenders, until all that's left is a frantic, reactive primate brain, leaping from one shiny object to the next, never building, never creating, never finishing anything that truly matters. And inside, the traitor whispers. It has a name, the monkey mind. It's the voice that tells you this is more urgent, the one that rationalizes the next hour of wasted time with, "I'll start on the hard work once I feel ready." It's the seductive lie that says, true discipline is for someone else, not you. Just one more video, one more article, and then you'll have the energy. That voice is the most dangerous enemy you will ever face, because it sounds like you. It justifies your weakness, validates your procrastination, and builds a cage of comfort around your squandered ambition. It creates the chasm between the warrior you could be, the writer, the creator, the leader, and the twitchy, distracted consumer you have become. It promises you comfort now, in exchange for a future of deep, soul-crushing regret. Let's be brutally honest about the cost of this surrender. The price of inaction is not just a list of unfinished projects. It is a slow corrosion of your self-respect. It is the quiet self-loathing that settles in after another day lost to the digital tide. Your relationships suffer because you are never truly present. Your health fails because you lack the discipline to honor your body. Your career stalls because deep, focused work has become impossible. You are becoming a puppet whose strings are pulled by external triggers and internal whims. You've tried the life hacks, the motivational speeches, the just try harder mentality. It all failed. It failed because you were trying to decorate a prison cell, not break out of it. You were given tactics for a battle when what you needed was a new operating system for war. But what if I told you there was a code? Not a hack, not a platitude, but an ancient operating system for the human mind, forged in the arenas of Rome and the battlefields of Germania. An ironclad system designed over 2,000 years ago to build a mind that is not reactive, but sovereign. A mind that is not a chaotic sea, but a fortress of tranquility and order, even when the world outside is burning. This is the arsenal of the Stoics. This is not philosophy for dusty books. It is a set of weapons for the modern warrior. In this war room, we are going to forge your mind into something unbreakable. I am going to hand you the 12 ancient codes that will allow you to silence the monkey mind, reclaim your focus, and finally become the commander of your own life. Before we forge the first weapon, you must prove your commitment. Warriors do not enter the arena half-heartedly. This is your first test of discipline. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. This is not for me, it is for you. It is a signal to your own mind that you are drawing a line in the sand. This is the day the war begins. Then, go to the comments and write your declaration, your personal war cry. It can be as simple as, "My mind is my own," or "I will not be a slave to impulse." This is your oath. It is the first hammer blow on the anvil of your transformation. Do it now. The weak hesitate. The warrior acts. Your training has already begun. So you have made your declaration. You have drawn your line in the sand. But a declaration is not victory. It is merely the sound of the war horn. Now, you must face the enemy you have been feeding your entire life. Let's diagnose this sickness with brutal honesty. This isn't just about distraction or a lack of focus. That is a symptom. The disease is deeper, more insidious. It is an addiction to comfort. You have been trained by a soft world to believe that discomfort is the enemy, that friction is to be avoided, that the path of least resistance is the path to happiness. This is the deadliest lie ever conceived. Comfort is the warm, soft bed where ambition goes to die. It is the sweet poison that convinces the warrior to lay down his sword. Your undisciplined mind is not a product of the digital age. It is a product of your worship of ease. Look at your own body. It is the first casualty in this war against the self. It is the physical manifestation of your mind's surrender. You know what you need to do. You have the knowledge. Move more. Eat real food. Sleep. But the voice of comfort, the monkey mind, whispers its treason. You're too tired. Start tomorrow. You deserve a treat. Every time you choose the couch over the pavement, the sugar over the protein, you are casting a vote for weakness. You are telling your own biology that discipline is a foreign concept. A body that is not forged through hardship becomes a prison. Your energy plummets. Your clarity dissolves into a fog of inflammation. You cannot command a chaotic world from a vessel you refuse to command yourself. The battle for your mind begins with the battle for your body. There is no other way. This plague of comfort-seeking then seeps into your work, corroding your potential from the inside out. You call it procrastination, but let's call it what it is: cowardice. It is the fear of the hard thing, the deep work, the focused, single-minded effort that is required to build anything of value. Your mind, addicted to the quick dopamine hit of a notification or a new tab, now finds real work intolerably boring. It invents 1,000 trivial emergencies to pull you away from the one task that could change your life. You answer emails, you organize files, you research, you do anything to create the illusion of productivity while avoiding the actual battle. You have become a master of being busy and an amateur at being effective. The result is a wasteland of half-finished projects and a career built on shallow, replaceable tasks, all because you feared the silence of true focus. And what about your relationships? The people you claim to love. You are not with them. Not really. You are a ghost at your own dinner table. Your body is present, but your mind is lost in the digital ether, worrying about a comment from a stranger, planning your next reactive email, or mentally scrolling through a feed. You offer them a fraction of your attention, the leftover scraps from a day spent serving the algorithm. This is not just a bad habit, warrior. It is a profound act of disrespect. Presence is the ultimate currency of love and connection, and you are bankrupt. The chaos in your mind prevents you from giving the one thing that truly matters: your undivided self. You are sacrificing the deepest human connections for the shallowest of digital interactions, and the loneliness you feel is the price of that treason. You tell yourself the lie that you're waiting for motivation. You believe you need to feel inspired, to be in the right mood to act. This is the whine of a child, not the creed of a warrior. Motivation is a fleeting chemical high. Discipline is the bedrock. Discipline is the force that moves you when the feeling is gone. It is the commitment you made to your future self, honored today, whether you feel like it or not. The warrior trains when he is sore. The writer writes when the page is blank. The leader leads when the path is unclear. To make your actions dependent on your emotions is to hand the keys of your life over to the most unstable, irrational tyrant you will ever know: your own feelings. The disciplined mind commands the mood. It does not bow to it. Let's dissect this beast of procrastination. It is not laziness. It is a complex shield constructed by fear. You don't avoid the task because you are tired. You avoid it because it makes you vulnerable. If you truly commit to that business, that book, that difficult conversation, you might fail. You might be judged. You might discover that you are not as talented as you hoped. And so the monkey mind, in its desperate attempt to protect your fragile ego, creates a fortress of distraction. It's not the right time. I need to learn more first. I'll just check this one thing. It is all a lie, a sophisticated defense mechanism to keep you safe in the prison of your own potential. You are not avoiding work. You are avoiding the truth of your own capabilities and the pain of growth. The grand illusion, the master lie that holds this entire rotten structure together, is the belief that this is normal. The world around you validates your weakness. It tells you that a fragmented attention span is just a part of modern life. It sells you apps to manage the chaos instead of teaching you to command it. It medicates your discomfort and calls it wellness. But you feel the truth in your bones. This is not living. This is a state of perpetual, low-grade emergency. A man who is not master of his own mind is a slave. You were born to be a sovereign, an architect, a commander. Instead, you have allowed your inner world to become a battlefield, controlled by foreign invaders, notifications, impulses, and the siren song of cheap comfort. This is the diagnosis. This is the war you are in. And acknowledging the depth of your own sickness is the first step toward forging the cure. Now you must understand, warrior, this chaos you feel is not a product of your time. It is not born of silicon and fiber optics, the smartphone in your hand, the endless feed on your screen. These are not the disease. They are merely the newest, most efficient delivery system for a poison as old as humanity itself. 2,000 years ago, in the blood-soaked arenas of Rome and the windswept plains of Germania, men named Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius diagnosed this exact sickness of the soul. They were not dusty academics in ivory towers. They were generals, senators, and former slaves who lived in a world of brutal uncertainty. They looked into the heart of man and saw the same frantic, reactive beast you fight today. They saw the monkey mind, and they forged the weapons to cage it. The Stoics began with a truth so brutal and liberating, it can shatter your entire worldview. There is a fortress inside you that no one and nothing can ever conquer, unless you hand over the keys. They called it your inner citadel. Inside its walls are your judgments, your will, your responses. Everything else, your job, your reputation, the economy, what other people think of you, the notification that just buzzed on your phone, is outside the walls. It is external. The source of your suffering, the root of your distraction, is that you have abandoned your post as commander of this citadel. You have thrown open the gates and allowed every random event, every fleeting impulse, every opinion from a stranger to storm the walls and run riot in the command center. Your mind is not chaotic because the world is chaotic. Your mind is chaotic because you have forgotten what is yours to command. Let's get specific. The Stoics called them impressions. The raw data that flows into your mind every second. An email from your boss. The sound of a car horn. A headline about a crisis. The untrained mind, your mind, does not see an impression. It sees a verdict. The email is not just an email. It is a disaster. The headline is not just information. It is a reason to panic. You immediately attach a judgment, a story, an emotional charge to the raw data. The former slave Epictetus, a man who knew true hardship, warned us with chilling clarity. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. The storm in your head is not the world. It is the hurricane of your own unchecked, automatic, and fatally flawed judgments. You are being tyrannized by your own opinions. From these toxic judgments, a deeper sickness grows. The Stoics called them the asterisk path, asterisk, the passions. This isn't love or joy. This is the irrational, soul-corroding stuff, the desperate craving for one more hit of dopamine from a social media like, the paralyzing fear of starting the difficult task, the childish rage at a minor inconvenience. These passions are a fever of the soul. They cloud your reason, hijack your will, and turn you into a puppet dancing on the strings of your own neurochemistry. The monkey mind is the mouthpiece for these passions. It is the voice of craving, the whisper of fear, the scream of anger. The Stoics understood that a life ruled by these passions is a life of slavery. You think you are free, but you are a slave to every impulse that your broken mind generates. But there is a part of you that can fight back. The Stoics identified the command center of the soul, the asterisk hegemonikon. This is your ruling faculty, your reason, your will. It is the commander meant to be sitting on the throne inside your inner citadel. In you, right now, that commander is either asleep, drunk on comfort, or has deserted its post entirely. The purpose of Stoicism, the entire point of this training, is not to get rid of the impressions or the passions. That is impossible. The purpose is to wake up the commander, to train it, drill it, and arm it, so that when an impression arrives at the gate, the commander can step forward, examine its credentials, and decide with cold, hard logic whether to grant it entry or to cast it back into the darkness from whence it came. We are not here to kill the enemy within. We are here to install a king. Do you think your world is uniquely distracting? Do you believe your challenges are new? Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man on the planet. He commanded legions, ruled over 60 million people, and faced constant threats of plague, invasion, and political betrayal. His notifications were messengers bearing news of a barbarian horde crossing the Danube, or a conspiracy to assassinate him in his own palace. The distractions of the Roman Forum would make a modern newsfeed look like a monastery library. And yet, every single morning, in the cold, pre-dawn light, this emperor sat down and wrote to himself, reminding himself to strengthen his inner citadel, to examine his impressions, to not be swept away by the chaos of his day. If the master of the known world needed this brutal daily discipline, what makes you think you are so special that you can survive without it? So this is the Stoic diagnosis. The disease is not your phone. The disease is not your busy job. The disease is an undefended citadel. The disease is a mind that grants automatic authority to every fleeting thought and emotion. The disease is a commander who has forgotten his duty. This is the default state of the untrained human mind, and it has been for thousands of years. The pain you feel is not a personal failure. It is a universal human condition. But unlike the millions who wander through life as willing slaves to this condition, you now know the truth. You have seen the enemy. And the Stoics did not just leave us with a diagnosis. They left us the battle plans. They left us the training manual. They left us the codes to forge an unbreakable mind. And now, warrior, we are going to pick up the first tool. The first weapon we forge is not a tactic. It is a law. It is the bedrock upon which the entire fortress of the Stoic mind is built. It is absolute, it is brutal, and it is non-negotiable. If you learn nothing else, burn this into the core of your being. The first brutal law: you do not control the world. You only control your response to it. This is not a suggestion. It is the fundamental physics of the human experience. You can scream at the rain, but it will not stop. You can rage at the economy, but it will not bend to your will. You can curse another person's opinion of you, but you cannot command their thoughts. To spend even 1 joule of energy trying to control what is outside your power is the definition of insanity. It is the source of all your anxiety, all your frustration, and all your weakness. You have been living your life in direct violation of this law. You have been acting like a deranged god, trying to bend the fabric of reality to suit your fleeting preferences. You get angry in traffic, as if your rage could part the cars. You despair over a critical comment online, as if your worry could erase the words from the screen. You exhaust yourself trying to manage the impressions you make on others, a task as futile as trying to sculpt the wind. Every moment you spend on the uncontrollable is a moment you are not spending on the one and only thing you truly own: your own mind. You have been fighting a war on 1,000 foreign fronts, and in your absence, your own kingdom, your inner citadel, has been sacked and burned by chaos. Let's be clear about your territory. Your domain is not your bank account, your job title, or your social status. Those can be taken from you in an instant. Your kingdom is infinitesimally small and infinitely powerful. It consists of 3 things, and 3 things only: your judgments, the stories you tell yourself about what is happening; your volition, the choices you make, the actions you take; and your will, the unbreakable core that decides to endure, to persist, to act with virtue no matter the storm. That is it. That is the entire sphere of your control. Everything else, everything, is external. It is foreign land. The undisciplined mind sees no border. The Stoic warrior builds a wall. Consider this battlefield scenario. An unexpected, high-stakes project is dropped on your desk at 4 p.m. on a Friday. The deadline is impossible. The old you, the slave to the external, immediately panics. The thought is not, here is a challenge. The thought is, this is a disaster. My weekend is ruined. My boss is unfair. The external event, the project, has breached your walls and is now dictating your emotional state and your internal narrative. You are a puppet. The project pulls the string, and you dance the jig of anxiety and resentment. You react, you complain, you become flustered and ineffective, a victim of a circumstance you did not choose. Now, let's run the simulation again, but this time with the commander on the throne. The project lands. The Stoic mind observes it. It is an external event. It is outside the citadel, the deadline, the boss's expectations, all outside. The warrior feels the initial surge of pressure, the impression of disaster. But the commander at the gates stops it. He examines its papers, and he makes a judgment. He separates the event from the story. The event, a difficult task with a tight deadline. The story, this is an opportunity to display my competence under pressure. This is a chance to practice fortitude. He cannot control the project's existence, but he has absolute, sovereign control over his response. This is the shift that changes everything. The moment you truly understand this law, you stop being a leaf in the wind, and you become the mountain. The world can hurl its storms at you, but it cannot move you. Your tranquility is no longer dependent on a perfect, orderly day. Your strength is no longer contingent on getting what you want. Your power is sourced from within, from the unshakable knowledge that while you cannot dictate the script of life, you have absolute veto power over how your character responds. This is not about suppressing emotion. It is about refusing to be enslaved by it. You see the wave of anger or fear coming. You acknowledge its power, and you choose not to be swept away. So here is your first drill, warrior. Your first step in reclaiming your throne. For the next 24 hours, you will become a border guard for your own mind. With every single event that occurs, every annoying email, every interruption, every piece of bad news, you will stop and ask one question. Is this within my control or outside of it? If it is outside your control, you will consciously and deliberately practice letting it go. You will treat it as a cloud passing in the sky. You note it, and you let it drift by. If it is within your control, your reaction, your judgment, your next action, you will seize it with the grip of a soldier holding his spear. You will command it with purpose. This is not a mental exercise. This is the first rep in forging an unbreakable will. Begin. You have the law. But a law written on a scroll is not a shield. It is ink and dust. A weapon on the rack does not win a war. You have been given the blueprint of the fortress, but a fortress is not built with thoughts. It is built with stone and sweat, and the brutal repetitive labor of laying one brick at a time, day after day, especially when your hands are bleeding and the sun is beating down on your neck. Now, we leave the war room and step onto the battlefield of your life. We are going to take this abstract principle and forge it into armor in the fires of your daily existence. This is where the boy who philosophizes dies, and the warrior who acts is born. Pay attention. Your transformation begins with the next provocation the world hurls at you. The first test will be anger. It will come soon. A driver will cut you off, endangering your life for a few feet of asphalt. A colleague will take credit for your work in a meeting. Someone you trust will betray a confidence. In that instant, you will feel the heat rise in your chest. The ancient reptilian brain will scream for blood. This is the moment of truth. The slave reacts. He lays on the horn. He fires off the enraged email. He plots his petty revenge. He has handed the keys to his inner citadel to a complete stranger. The warrior, however, feels the same fire, but he does not become the fire. He is the blacksmith who uses it. He applies the law. That person's action is external. It is not mine. He pauses. In that sacred space between stimulus and response, he chooses. He chooses not to surrender his tranquility. He lets the insult fly past him like an arrow in the dark. He does not grant a fool the power to become the master of his mind. Next, you will be tested by pain. Not the dramatic pain of a Hollywood movie, but the grinding, persistent pain of a difficult reality. The burn in your muscles on the last representative of a workout. The sting of criticism on a project you poured your soul into. The ache of loneliness in a quiet room. The monkey mind will scream its coward's anthem. This is too much. Stop. Retreat to comfort. The slave listens. He quits the workout. He abandons the project. He numbs the loneliness with distraction. The warrior applies the law. He separates the raw sensation from the story he tells about it. The burn in the muscle is not agony. It is the feeling of strength being born. The criticism is not proof of my failure. It is data to be analyzed and used. The loneliness is not unbearable. It is an opportunity for silence and self-reflection. He endures the sensation, but he refuses to indulge in the suffering. He uses pain as a whetstone to sharpen his will. You will be tested by loss. It is the one guarantee of this life. You will lose a job. You will lose money. You will lose relationships. You will lose people you love. The world will teach you that this is the ultimate tragedy, the end of your story. The untrained mind will collapse, wailing, "I cannot go on without this." It has made the fatal error of building its identity on things outside its control, on foundations of sand. The warrior grieves. He is human. But his foundation is rock. He applies the law. What fortune has given, fortune can take away. It was never truly mine, only on loan. His grief is real, but it does not become his identity. His focus shifts immediately to the one thing the loss cannot touch, his response. He asks not, "Why did this happen to me?" but, "What will I do now?" He uses the empty space left by the loss not to build a shrine to his misery, but as a cleared ground upon which to build something stronger. And you will be tested every single morning by the soft, seductive poison of your own laziness. The alarm will ring. The difficult task will wait. The path of discipline will call to you. And right beside it, the warm, comfortable ditch of procrastination will beckon. This is perhaps the most dangerous enemy, because it wears your own face and speaks with your own voice. Just a little longer, it will whisper. You'll feel more motivated later. The slave believes this lie, choosing a moment of cheap comfort now for a future of deep regret. The warrior applies the law with ruthless force. My feelings are external. My mood is a weather pattern. It is not in my control. But my body, my actions, they are mine to command. He does not negotiate with weakness. He does not wait for motivation. He acts on commitment. He throws his legs over the side of the bed. He opens the blank page. He picks up the heavy weight. He commands his body like the tool it is, and forces it to obey the will of its master. Do you see the pattern, warrior? Anger, pain, loss, laziness, they are all the same enemy in different masks. They are all external events or internal feelings trying to seize command of your inner citadel. The battle is never about the traffic, or the criticism, or the empty bank account. The battle is, and always will be, about one thing: where you place your focus. On the uncontrollable chaos outside the walls, or on the sovereign commander within. The slave's attention is a scattered mess, flitting from one external provocation to the next. The warrior's attention is a focused laser, aimed only at his own judgments, his own choices, his own actions. This is the master key that unlocks every door. It is not 100 different tactics for 100 different problems. It is one brutal law applied to every single moment of your life. The world will not wait for you to feel ready. Your test begins the moment this video ends. An email will arrive, a demand will be made, a temptation will appear. These are not annoyances. They are sparring partners sent by the universe to train you. Each one is an opportunity to practice the law. Each one is a chance to swing the hammer and shape your will upon the anvil of reality. Do not curse these moments. Welcome them. They are the fire that will burn away your weakness and leave only steel. Your life, from this moment forward, is your forge. Every decision, every response, is another hammer blow. The question is no longer what the world will do to you. The only question that matters is this: what kind of mind will you forge in its flames? And so, a change begins. Not with a thunderclap, but with a quiet shift in the foundations of your being. The world does not stop screaming. The notifications do not cease their assault. The demands on your time do not vanish. The storm still rages outside the walls, but for the first time, you are not out there in the rain, being battered by the wind. You are inside the command center of your citadel, watching the storm on a view screen, calm and in control. The chaos that once lived inside you has been exiled. In its place, a profound silence grows, the silence of a mind that is no longer at war with itself. This is the first taste of true power, not the power to quiet the world, but the power to be unshaken within it. You begin to feel it in your own body. Where there was once a sluggish vessel ruled by the whims of comfort and craving, there is now an instrument of your will. The morning alarm is no longer a negotiation, it is a summons to the drill ground. The workout is no longer a chore to be avoided, it is the sharpening of your primary weapon. You eat not for fleeting pleasure, but for fuel and function. The fog that clouded your mind begins to lift, burned away by the clean fire of discipline. You stand taller. You move with purpose. People will notice and say you look different, but they will not understand. You have simply stopped being a slave to your own biology and started being its commander. The physical world always reflects the internal, and your body is now the undeniable proof of a new king on the throne. This newfound order radiates into your work, transforming you from a frantic amateur into a focused professional. Remember the man who sat before a dozen open tabs, paralyzed by the sheer volume of his own distractions? He is dead. In his place sits a craftsman. You learn to close the doors, to silence the noise, and to descend into the depths of a single task. The monkey mind still chatters from its cage, but its voice is now a distant echo, easily ignored. You produce work that has weight, that has substance, because it was forged in the uninterrupted fire of deep focus. You are no longer just busy. You are effective. You are no longer reacting to your day. You are architecting it, block by deliberate block. You become the person who finishes what they start, the one who can be relied upon when the stakes are high, not because you are more talented, but because you are more disciplined. And your relationships, once starved by your fractured attention, begin to heal. You become a bastion of presence in a world of ghosts. When you are with your child, your partner, your friend, you are fully there. You are not mentally scrolling through a feed or rehearsing your next email. You are listening. You are seeing. You are offering the most valuable and sacred gift a human being can give another: your undivided self. This is not a soft skill, warrior. It is the ultimate display of a controlled mind. The people in your life will feel this change. They will feel seen. They will lean on you, not as a burden, but because you have become a source of stability and calm in their own chaotic lives. You become a fortress for them, because you first built one for yourself. You begin to understand the great paradox the world will never teach you. You once believed that freedom was the absence of restraint, the ability to do whatever you wanted, whenever the impulse struck. You now know this for the lie that it is. That was not freedom. It was the most insidious form of slavery, a bondage to every fleeting desire and external trigger. True freedom, you discover, is the opposite. It is the freedom from your own impulses. It is the power to say no to the thousand trivialities, so you can say yes to the one thing that matters. It is the unshakable ability to choose your actions based on your values, not your feelings. Discipline is not the prison. Discipline is the chisel that breaks the chains. A new identity is forged. The old you was built on a foundation of shifting sand, external validation, other people's opinions, fleeting successes. It was a house of cards, and you lived in constant, low-grade anxiety that a gust of wind would bring it all down. The new you is built on the bedrock of self-respect, earned through 1,000 difficult choices. It is a respect that cannot be given to you or taken from you. It is forged every morning when you honor the commitment you made to yourself. It is hammered into shape every time you choose the hard path over the easy one. This creates a quiet confidence, not the loud arrogance of the ego, but the calm assurance of a warrior who knows the strength of his own steel because he has tested it daily in the fire. This is the inevitable consequence of living by the law. You stop being a victim of your life, and you become its author. The world still presents its challenges: pain, loss, frustration, injustice. That will never change, but you no longer see them as personal attacks or reasons to despair. You see them for what they are: raw material. They are the iron ore that you, the blacksmith, will use to forge an even stronger will. Your life ceases to be a series of random events you must endure. It becomes a training ground, a gymnasium for the soul, and every obstacle is simply another piece of equipment designed to make you stronger. You did not change the world, warrior. You changed the mind that interprets it, and in doing so you have changed everything. You have the law. You have seen the results of its application. But a law is not a life. A principle is not a practice. The gap between the warrior you are in this moment, listening to these words, and the warrior who commands his life on a Tuesday afternoon is a chasm called action. You have admired the sword. Now you must learn to wield it, not once, but every single day. Philosophy that remains in the head is a comforting illusion. It is a lullaby for the weak. We are not here to be comforted. We are here to be forged. So now, I am giving you your daily drill, your morning ritual. This is not a life hack. This is the sharpening of the soul. We will call this ritual the morning war game. The ancients called it premeditatio malorum asterisk, the premeditation of evils. But we will not use that term. It sounds passive, academic. It sounds like something a philosopher does. You are a warrior. You do not premeditate, you strategize. You do not fear evils. You anticipate ambushes. Every morning the undisciplined mind wakes up and stumbles blindly onto a battlefield, reacting with surprise and panic to every predictable volley of arrows. The traffic is bad. The client is demanding. The temptation to procrastinate is strong. The slave is shocked by these things every single day. The warrior is not. The warrior has already studied the map. He has already walked the terrain in his mind. He has already planned his response to every enemy tactic. So here is your first standing order. It begins tomorrow, before the sun rises, before you allow the poison of the digital world to infect your mind, before you touch your phone, and that is a command, not a suggestion. You will find 3 minutes of absolute silence. Sit upright. Close your eyes. Your mission is reconnaissance. You will scan the horizon of the day ahead. You will not visualize success. You will not engage in hopeful fantasies. You will do what a real commander does. You will identify the likely points of enemy contact. Where are the ambushes waiting for you? It might be the 10 a.m. meeting with the colleague who always undermines you. It might be the block of deep work where the monkey mind will scream for the sweet relief of distraction. It might be the difficult conversation you need to have with a loved one. See them clearly. Do not flinch. Name the enemy. Once you have identified the ambush sites, you begin the war game. This is the critical step. For each challenge, you will mentally rehearse your disciplined, stoic response. Do not just think about it, visualize it. See the colleague's passive-aggressive comment coming toward you like a slow-motion arrow. See yourself letting it fly past. Feel the emotional flare-up, acknowledge it, and then choose to respond with unshakable calm and logic. See the moment your focus begins to drift during the difficult task. Visualize your hand reaching for the phone, and then see your will, like a steel gauntlet, seizing that hand and placing it back on the keyboard. Rehearse saying no to the trivial request that would derail your mission. Play the movie of your victory in your mind, over and over, until the disciplined response feels more natural than the weak one. Do you understand what this does, warrior? You are stripping the power of surprise from your day. When these events actually happen, they will no longer trigger a knee-jerk emotional reaction. They will trigger a feeling of recognition. Ah, this ambush. I was expecting you. Your mind will not have to invent a response under pressure. It will simply execute the plan you have already drilled. You have created a preloaded pathway of discipline in your brain. You are transforming your entire day from a series of chaotic, reactive skirmishes into a controlled, strategic campaign. You are no longer the victim of your circumstances. You are the commander on the field, calm and prepared, because you started your day in the war room, not in the barracks. This is your first test. It requires no equipment. It costs no money. It demands only 3 minutes of your time and a warrior's will. The person you have been until now will tell you this is silly. It will tell you to hit the snooze button. It will tell you to grab your phone and fill your mind with noise. That is the voice of the slave who is terrified of his own freedom. You must crush that voice with action. This 3-minute ritual is the first stone you will lay in the foundation of your inner citadel. It is the first rep in the training of your will. Your war begins at dawn. Prove to yourself that you are worthy of the title warrior. Complete the mission. We will speak again when you have. The war is not over, warrior. It has just begun. You came here a slave, a ghost haunted by the digital storm, a passenger in a body commanded by impulse. You lived in the chaos. Now you have stood inside the eye of the hurricane and felt the profound silence of a mind under command. You have seen the enemy for what it is, not the world, not your phone, not your boss, but the weakness and disorder you allowed to fester within the walls of your own skull. That is a truth you can never unsee. The battlefield has been illuminated. The terms of engagement have been set. Your old life of reaction is a foreign country to which you can never return. We have armed you with the foundational laws of this new kingdom. Remember them, for they are your shield and your spear. First, the brutal law of control. You are the absolute sovereign of your responses, and nothing else. To waste energy on the external is treason against the self. Second, your daily drill, the morning war game. You will meet the day not as a victim, but as a commander who has already surveyed the terrain and planned for every ambush. These are not philosophies to be pondered. They are weapons to be wielded. They are the daily grind, the sharpening of the blade at dawn, the reinforcement of the fortress walls before the first assault. Mastery is not an event. It is a process. It is the relentless application of these laws, day after bloody day. You are no longer the person who started this journey. The person who was a slave to their feelings, who traded their potential for comfort, who flinched at the sight of hard work. That person began to die the moment you took your oath. You are now a stoic warrior in training, an architect of your own focus, a commander of your own mind. This identity is not a gift. It is a burden you must choose to carry every single morning. It is forged not in moments of inspiration, but in moments of decision. When you choose the workout over the warm bed, the deep work over the distraction, the disciplined response over the emotional outburst. This is the source of all self-respect. It is the quiet, unbreakable knowledge that you are loyal to the warrior you swore you would become. Carry this decree with you. Burn it into the walls of your inner citadel. Let it be the last thing you think of at night, and the first thing that guides you at dawn. It is the final, unbreakable truth of your new existence. The chaos is not the enemy. Your surrender to it is. The war is within. Command or be conquered. There are no other options. There is no middle ground. There is no truce with weakness. You either sit on the throne of your mind, or you kneel before the tyranny of your own impulses. The choice is yours, and you make it with every single breath. If this battle has ignited a fire within you, then prove it. Go to the comments now and write the one phrase, the one war cry that will guide your actions for the next 7 days. This is your public declaration. Then, share this transmission with another warrior who is lost in the fog, who needs this call to arms. Subscribe to this channel to continue your training in this forge. The discipline is daily. The war is eternal. We will see you in the arena.